false rapture. I woke to the sound of trumpets, not music exactly. Something lower, older, like a brass section buried beneath centuries of earth, playing through waterlogged lungs. It wasn't a song so much as a summons. And every dog in the county howled at once, a shrill chorus rising with the dawn mist. I sat up in bed, bare feet touching cold floorboards, and listened. The sound vibrated through the walls, not loud, but deep, like it was stitched into the wood and the bones beneath it. I could also hear the church bell ringing, but it sounded distant, almost polite compared to the thunder just beyond the sky. They said the rapture would come like a thief in the night, but this was a parade. By the time I made it onto the porch, half the town was already gathered in the street, dressed in their Sunday's best, even though it was Thursday. Old Pastor Elijah stood before the chapel, arms spread wide, head tilted to the clouds. His white robe fluttered around him like it had a mind of its own. Caught up in the wind none of us could feel. "They're here," he shouted. "The angels have come, just as the Lord promised." Murmurs of joy rippled through the crowd. Some people fell to their knees, others lifted their arms and wept. I watched my neighbor, Mrs. Gray, raise her infant to the sky like an offering. I was frozen, my heart not racing, but pressure in my chest. A tightness like something immense had bent its eye toward us and decided we were interesting. The sky above the church shimmered, not like heat waves or mirages, but like the air itself had cracked. A thin seal opened in the blue, oozing light. Not sunshine, not any color I'd ever seen before. It had a shape to it. That light. Wings, maybe. Or something trying very hard to look like wings. People began to rise. It was slow at first. Their feet lifted off the ground like they were being drawn upwards by strings. There was no flail, no panic, just reverence. They floated in silence, bathed in that impossible light, their eyes glazed over with ecstasy, madness, I couldn't tell which. And then I saw what the wings were made of. Not feathers, but flesh, veins, membranes, and joints that bent in ways no human anatomy book would allow. The edges shimmered, unfolding into more endless wings, layered like a kaleidoscope that had forgotten how to be beautiful. Faces bloomed from the folds, not human, not animal, just the idea of a face twisted into something that screamed divinity and decay at once. I stumbled backwards, bile rising in my throat. The trumpet sound deepened, its resonance shaking the ground beneath our feet. And still, they rose. My mother floated past me, her eyes locked on the sky, a beautiful smile on her face. Her nightgown clung to her like burial linen. I tried to call out to her, but my voice died in my throat. I reached for her ankle, desperate to pull her back down, but my hand passed through her like mist. Everyone ascended, every last one of them. Their bodies vanished into that tear in the sky, swallowed whole by the wings. And then it closed. vanished. The sound stopped. The silence that followed felt heavier than the trumpet ever did. I stood alone in the street, barefoot, the morning sun suddenly too bright, too ordinary. A bird landed on the chapel roof and chirped, blissfully unaware of the divine horror that had just unfolded beneath it. The rapture had come, but I was left behind, alone, in the aftermath of the rapture. The quiet didn't last. At first, it was just the wind, moving wrong through the trees, not rustling the leaves, but brushing against them in slow, deliberate patterns, like fingers. I tried calling out, anyone, anything, but the town was hollow. Empty homes with food still on the stove, lawn sprinklers trickling on like it was any other day. Doors were left ajar, curtains swaying. The sun hung above it all like an indifferent eye watching. I walked to the church, heart thudding like a metronome, wound too tight. The front doors hung open, one ripped off its hinge, splintered like something huge had passed through without regard for mortal architecture. Inside, the pews were scorched, not burnt, but singed with a pattern that spiraled outwards from the pulpit. Symbols lined the walls, unfamiliar and fluid, as though they've been scrawled quickly by something that had never needed language. The air smelled sweet and rotted, honey and meat. Behind the altar, Pastor Elijah's robes lay crumpled in a heap, empty. But there was a trail leading away from them. Small, dark smears on the floor, like something that tried to drag itself out of its skin. The pattern of blood was wrong. Too not random, but symmetrical, deliberate. I turned to leave, but the organ groaned behind me. One long, low note. It echoed through the church like breath through a hollow skull. I didn't wait to see if there'd be a second. The world seemed subtly altered, as if it had shifted a few degrees while I wasn't looking, adding to my growing disorientation. And then I heard it. Whispers, not in my ears, but in my teeth, crawling through the roots of my molars and into my jaw. They spoke in loops, repeating one word repeatedly, something that sounded like Hosinil. Each time it passed through my skull, the meaning sharpened, clawing towards coherence. I ran back toward my house, past empty cars still idling in driveways, past open doors that I didn't care to look into. Shadows stretched where they shouldn't have. One reached for me, long and thin, like a child's drawing of an arm. And I swear, it smiled, even though it didn't have a mouth. Inside my house, I locked every door. Then I bolted them. Then I shoved furniture against them, even though I knew that whatever had taken the others didn't need doors. Even though I knew it was futile, barricading the doors gave me a fleeting sense of control in the face of impeding horror. I sat in the kitchen for hours, staring at the clock as the hands ticked backwards. There was no noise, no birds, not even the wind anymore. Just the heavy breath of silence. Until the light came back, not in the sky, but from the floorboards, a soft glow pulsing beneath the wood, rhythmic, like a heartbeat. I pressed my ear to it, and what I heard wasn't a sound so much as a calling, something beneath the house, waiting. I didn't answer. I stayed still. I stayed quiet. I stayed human. For now. That night, the light came back. It wasn't in the sky, beneath the floor, or even in the world as I understood it. It was inside my walls, my skin, my mind. A pale shimmer that flickered in the corners of my vision, retreating when I turned to face it, like something waiting for me to stop paying attention. I didn't sleep. At some point, maybe midnight, maybe not, time felt irrelevant. The floor began to hum again, this time louder and urgent. The boards trembled under my feet like they were holding onto something alive. Then came the scratching from under the house, like fingernails on stone or bones dragging across dirt. I didn't move. I just listened, heart rabbiting in my chest as the sound circled beneath me, slow and patient. Something was down there, or many things, moving in rhythm, breathing with my breath. A voice, no, several, rose from the deep. Not words, but images etched into my thoughts. A storm of wings, a tower made of eyes, a mouth with no face that whispered scripture in reverse. I saw the others, the ones who rose, drifting through a tunnel of impossible light, their bodies changing, and not by choice. Wings burst from shoulder blades with a wet crack. Eyes opened on palms, cheeks and torsos. Mouths split down spines and screamed hymns that bent the air. Their bones twisted to match a new shape. One meant for something not made of flesh. Some didn't survive the transformation. Those were the ones that fell back. I heard them before I saw them. The roof split, not shattered, not torn, but parted like curtains as they descended. They looked like angels, as if angels had been made by someone who had never seen a human, but tried to approximate one from memory. One crawled down the side of the house, its limbs too long, joints reversed, glowing eyes orbiting its head like satellites. Its wings weren't wings, just spines that bloomed outwards, each tipped with a twitching, featherless hand. Another landed in the yard and unfolded itself, taller than any man, with ribs that opened outwards like petals, revealing a face inside its chest. My father's face, mouth agape, eyes weeping light. They watched me through the windows, not attacking, not speaking, just watching, like they were waiting for me to accept something. I don't know what made me open the door. Maybe I was tired of running. Perhaps I wanted to know. The tallest one leaned toward me, and its voice poured into my head like hot wax. You were not chosen. I felt it then, that I hadn't been spared. I'd been rejected. The town had been harvested, transformed, taken, but I had been left behind like a refuse. not because I was pure, but because I was unworthy. The creature extended its hand. Not a hand, a cluster of fingers. Some human, some insectile, some not of this earth. I saw my mother's wedding ring on one of them. I stepped back, and it smiled, not with its face, but with every eye on its body blinking in unison. They didn't come for me after that. One by one, they rose again, vanishing into the sky, without fire, without sound, just gone. Morning came like a mercy that I didn't deserve. I'm still here. The town is still empty. The church bells never ring, but sometimes, at night, the air hums with a trumpet tone, low and sweet, calling for something that isn't me. Sometimes I wonder if there were angels, and if that was what heaven looks like. There are no harps, no clouds, just wings and light, and a beauty so vast that it peels the soul from your body like skin from fruit. Or maybe they were demons, wearing scripture as camouflage. Perhaps the rapture was a lie, a harvest cloaked in holiness. And maybe hell is a place above, not below. I don't know. But I know this. They'll come back. And next time, I don't think they'll leave anything behind.